Greetings, Ani, Bonjour, Kwekwe, Tanzi, Stano. It's Brian and Catherine from Moonstarlodge in South Central Ontario in the Georgian Bay area, and we are here with the weekly reading, Tarot and Oracle reading for the week of August 11th through the 18th. Welcome to newbies and welcome back to the old timers and my dear friends. We're filming this on the 8th, which is the Lionsgate portal. I didn't put out a video about the Lionsgate portal, and I might yet later today. It's of interest, especially because it lands always in She Who Heals, the grandmother of the 8th moon cycle. What's particularly requiring focus and assessment is the fact that we go into the full moon at 3:57 a.m. in where we live, at least, on the 9th. So this Lionsgate portal is fully invested in and part of the full moon energy, because a full moon lasts 3 days. The zenith is when it exactly hits perfect dead center, but the energies are here now. So it's left me this morning feeling shaky and agitated and heightened awareness. Clearly that's a sense that my subconscious self and my higher self are duking it out for some things that I need to express through She Who Heals for this healing. Virtually every card I pulled out more decks than we needed, but every card I pulled out, I had to check with Brian to douse yes or no, and most of them were yes. The ones that were no, it was typically not shuffled enough, or they were in the wrong position. So the cards I'm using are reflecting the land. Again, we carefully doused what is it that we are to be focused on this week. Animals, people, archetypes, psychology, sociology, what? And it came back again to the land. So clearly there's some important information here for the collective. As always, these are collective readings. And if one bell curves, as they do in parapsychology, you know, that's the vast majority of the people it's going to touch. It's just about 2% of people on each end of the bell curve that this won't necessarily apply to. So this is important. I'm actually shaking. I'm trying not to shake because the information, as I pulled the cards, and I do that off camera because I have severe rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, and so I fumble, shaking. My hands will spasm and the cards will be all over the floor. So pulling them online is useless for me. It just creates agitation and takes me out of the headspace I need to be in order to not only read what the cards say, pulling together the bigger picture story, but also Spirit interjects and gives me information. So, as I say, we're filming on August 8th for August 11th, which is Aunt Jenny's actual birthday. We had to celebrate a little bit sooner. But it's a huge time, and it's a time that has an impact in terms of the cards that were pulled for what this applies to, and we'll get to that toward the end of the reading. So the decks I'm using for the next 2 weeks include the Mindscapes Tarot by John A. Rice. I'm really loving it. It just got issued by Hay House. The Seasons of the Witch, Lammas, or Lugnasad, oracle because we just experienced that on August 1st and 2nd, so those teachings apply. The Wandering Echo it's a Major Arcana alternative by Rachel Jean. We have the new classic Tarachi by Mr. Freeborg and the expansion pack. That gives me other information. The Wildlands Tarot, the Wandering Soul Oracle by Rachel Jean, the Magic of You Oracle by Fiona Horn. This is like having my own personal Jenga pile. The Tarot Landscapes, the illustrations are by Yoshimari and edited by Francesca Mattioni. And finally, the Bloodlands Oracle, which I can't seem to move past, according to what the spirit realm wants. Desperately having coffee today. That's not contributing to my shakes. It's the energy of this portal. On an interesting side note, speaking of portals, we had considerable damage in the big ice storm at the end of March into April in terms of our property and trees that had to be felled because part of them tore away. A number of friends like JJ and Dave and people like that have been coming over to help Brian with the felling of these trees. And when finally, just last week, the last of the detritus was moved away, it created an arch in our trees that is full-blown portal. I kept having my attention drawn to it as looking out our living room window, realizing, oh my heavens, that's like going into a train tunnel energy. It's huge. And so I checked with Brian about the dousing of the yard, and he said, yeah, that's where the convergence of the east-west ley line and the north-south ley line are, right where that opening is. So I'm hoping to get out there if I can get my wheelchair to work on the grass and see just what's going on, and maybe invite a few friends, and we'll see what kind of mischief we can get into. Anyway, let's go to the cards, Brian. So this is the Tarot Landscapes deck this week, and I will use one of the other ones that we've pulled out for next week. The very first card here, the significator, is the King of Wands, the master of spiritual connection for the expansion of the passion of living our best lives. There's a maturity here. There's a definite kingly sense to this great, I don't know if this is a white tiger. Yeah, it's a white tiger. Obviously, the energies that are flowing through are very, very large right now. And by the time we hit Monday, it will be just exactly, it's like a bowling ball just being released. It's doing nothing. It's stagnant in the hand. But the minute you set it going and rolling, it's unstoppable until it hits an obstacle. So the King of Wands energy is a great significator, and it's clarified by the Major Arcana card, Justice. Now, Rachel Jean puts the numbers for the cards in the correct historic way. So this is an 8 card. 8 appears through this reading. It is Lionsgate, which is the 8th of August. So I'm not surprised. But this applies to the 11th of August through to the 18th. So the King of Wands being clarified by Justice. So justice and balance. This is what we would call the way of right relationship. So whatever the king is manifesting here next week, and it will be different for all of us, this archetypal energy, creates balance and especially justice. Something is being finished, something is being, they're giving me the word foundational. There's a foundation of justice, or a justly created foundation for the period of time that we're talking about, which isn't just 1 week. We'll get to that. So the king is followed by the 2 of Pentacles, which is balance. There's a little critter balanced on a log between a couple of precipices here. Balance and justice are very similar concepts here. So the king, despite lofty adventures with passion and new adventures that impact a lot of people around us, we still maintain a sense of balance. So we're able to juggle our third dimensional work and family and home life with the bigger picture stuff that's coming out of what we are doing at a spiritual level. Interestingly, it's clarified by the balance card in the expansion pack. And I'm gobsmacked. That's there. We got the scales again and the concept of balance. So balance is just absolutely, there's no question that balance must be consciously on our minds, making sure that we're not going off the rails about anything. And if we are going off the rails, we need to step back and assess what it is that's triggered us that way, and maybe confide in someone and pull together a bigger picture concept. But it seems that to me that balance is definitely part of this week. Feeling balanced, feeling in a holistic way. 2 cards came to clarify this. And this card is from the Lamas deck. So the card is called Corn. And we can see the cobs hanging to dry in someone's hut. It says, let spirit guide you and take meaningful action. Dreams become reality when combined with purposeful intent and action. So there's a harbinger of what's coming. So we're staying imbalanced, but there's movement, definite movement coming. Card 3 here is in this deck, it's called the 1 of Cups, which is the same as the Ace of Cups. So new emotional beginnings come out of this place of balance, and certainly having balanced emotions are a big part of having a productive and purposeful and successful adventure here. It's clarified by the 7 of Cups. So not all the options that are present in this week that we run into are necessarily ones we should take. Know that there are a lot of options that we might not be looking at, but we certainly need to perhaps think outside the box. That's a rather tardy old saying, but we need to recognize what's useful to follow through and think about, and what's just going to distract us and delay us. I'm concerned about that because we do have the Moon card later on, which can be a harbinger of illusion. But so far we've got the beginnings of a new emotional headspace because of all this stability. The next card is the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is seeking knowledge, intellectual pursuits, writing, communication, science. The page is learning how, or bringing us the knowledge of how we pick apart something. How do we dissect to learn? And so observation skills are required. In fact, we have an eagle here in the midst of a thunderstorm, looking to where it must direct its flight. And that's very true for us. So we have the energy of the page. The archetype of the page is something like a young person, adolescent, teen, somebody who's not really been without parental support for their journey in the world. But the page is learning how to be in the world without the support of others in the third dimension. That energy here is expressed in the Leo card. So Leo is the astrological sign that we are in right now, and will be for the duration of this reading. So it's lust for life. It is power and energy and fire and all the things that the King of Wands brings to this week. So we are supported by the energies that surround and impact all of us. We are being infused by this, but also maintaining careful awareness of the information that we're bringing forward to use in our actions. We have the Emperor. Well, the Emperor is structure, foundation, new beginnings, like a boss. We're being asked to look at these structures, whether it's education, health, home, work, community. Usually the Emperor is dealing with things outside of our personal lives. That's the same with the King of Wands. They are looking at the bigger picture. So we are being asked to embrace the archetype of the Emperor and being careful. The Nine of Spires in this Mindscapes deck is the same as the Nine of Swords, which is waking up at night in distress and terror and anxiety. We aren't going to function well with any of this if we let anxiety sneak in. We are expected to remain in balance at all cost. So at nighttime, this is a card of being awake at night, thinking about things. What's real and what isn't? What is just fear manifesting? Can we take another path? Have a cup of chamomile and go back to sleep? So moving from the Emperor, we have another major arcana card here with the Moon, as I pointed out. So the Moon is all sorts of things. It is the guardian of the night in the biggest sense. It is that which lights our way when there could be pure black, inky black, and an inability to see. The Moon does for us at night by reflecting the sun back to the earth. And it is a full moon right now, just as this pictured. It's also about intuition, our ability to use our psychic gifts, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairolfaction, and psychokinesis. And Spirit advises that for many of us, there's going to be a big jump in our capabilities. So this is a moon of She Who Heals. Sorry for the unexpected doorbell thing. We were talking about the moon here. This is a soft and gentle energy most of the time. But the capacity to bring illusion is also countered by the moon's capacity to light through, send light through, and remove fear and monkey mind. And we're being asked with our spirit, the clarifier being the confluence here, two rivers are merging into one. And that's us working with the higher good, the higher spirit, our higher self, the universe, Wonka, the great mystery. We are better and bigger when we remember our connection. So we can use our moon energy here that's going to be with us, she who heals, to heal any weirdness we've felt or any discomfort or monkey mind, whatever you want to call it. So the moon is it's presenting itself in the very best way that the moon can. We're being advised to keep that energy for a period of time, which will come up in a few minutes. The last card here in the lineup, I'm going to move my coffee so you can see it here, is the Four of Cups. Now, in traditional tarot, pre-Rider-Waite-Smith, this is about mature love. This is about parental love. This is about the maturations of emotion into a state of calmness and stability. If you think of the other fours, the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Wands, the Four of Cups, and the Four of Swords, they're all about stability, quiet, and a maturation, an understanding that things are safe. And so that's what we need to bring to this card today. Forget the Rider-Waite-Smith traditional thing. And I know that that's the case because the clarifying card here from the Mysterious Wonder of You, if I got that name correct for the deck, is called the Merrick. Embrace oneness with the universe. So this is speaking of pulling into and embracing oneness, being one with the moon and what the moon can do to assist, finding that mature personal headspace that acknowledges our growth and knowing to embrace our oneness with Source. Now, coming to the timeline of this, we have Leo, which we're in right now, and I asked if there was an ending card to this. What is the timeline? And it says Capricorn, which is the time from winter solstice till about the 21st of January 2026. So we're talking an almost 6-month timeline for this. Big things sometimes manifest slowly. Sometimes they're very quick, in an instant, in a heartbeat. This is telling me that even though it's about almost 6 months, it's in the way the universe works, this is all happening in a heartbeat. You can flip the camera, Brian. So this is a very beautiful reading. This is, it doesn't surprise me that I'm having the sympathetic nervous system reaction, which is part of the connection with spirit. We teach that in our psychospiritual development class. Certainly the connection with Source is demonstrated extremely well here. And it's important to see, like, just the number of cards that had birds flying to bring clarity. From the greatest height, we can see the biggest picture when we raise our vibration. The only warning is to not let old anxieties rob us of the peace and the balance and serenity. And justice is coming as a result of this. I hope that justice extends to the world and the conflict. So our ability to be the butterfly and flap our wings, and we never know what that flapping does on the other side of the world. But this is a bigger picture. It's all very personal for sure, but it has to be personal before it can become bigger. So if we all take heed to this and do our best, I think we will see changes not only in our own individual lives, but in the planetary consciousness and how it's playing out. Anyway, phew. I thank you. Brian thanks you. We couldn't do this without you. We appreciate every thumbs up, like, every subscriber, every donation, whether it's PayPal or an e-transfer, or people have sent me bags of coffee because, yes, I need it. Anyway, we thank you for all the ways that you support us. And people have been asking about readings. They will resume in the fall. There's a lot going on here right now. So blessings, be well, and we will see you soon. Aho.